when you're ready. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. I want to welcome everyone. Today we're going to be discussing probably one of the most important videos I've done. All of them have a lot of educational content, which many of you have gotten a lot of benefit from. Health videos, videos on science, videos on freedom. As you know, I've been doing this for a long, long time as an educator since I was, for the last 40 years. I really enjoy teaching people very complex concepts and making them accessible to all people. Now, as an engineer, as a scientist, as an inventor, one of the questions I've been asking myself since I was a kid, 4 years old, because growing up in India, I saw the oppression of the caste system, where a small set of people controlled a lot of people. I also was very excited and learned a lot by my grandmother, who had no degrees, tattoos all over her arm. She was a poor village farmer who was the doctor of the village. She used an ancient system of Indian medicine and healed lots and lots of people. And that was a traditional system of medicine. So here I was exposed to the caste system of India. I was exposed to these ancient systems of medicine. But the key word there was systems. So I was very intrigued by systems as a kid. When I came to the United States, I grew up in the working class neighborhoods of New Jersey. And again, I saw it, very hardworking people, always being taken advantage of by a few set of people. And so I wanted to really understand these systems of power. As a kid, I got an introduction into building systems when I created the first email system. Just to be clear, I've never claimed I created electronic messaging, but I created email, the system as we know it today. But I did that in a small university environment in a small medical college. Email was not done by the system of the military industrial complex. But anyway, my journey across all those 4 degrees at MIT was always in various fields of engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, design, biological engineering. But in the back of my mind, in spite of the many contributions I've made to science and engineering, I felt the biggest contribution I could make is to really understand from an engineering and a scientific standpoint, why are there a few set of people, maybe a handful of people, 10,000 people, who control 8 billion people. And this really troubled me because as a child, as I mentioned, when I last went to India when I was 12, after I first came, here I saw my grandparents with bare feet. You know, they had very little, they worked hard, 16-hour days. I saw the same thing in New Jersey. And I really felt this deep desire that I should use myself and learn as much as I could to really understand these systems of power. So that's what I dedicated most of my life. And over the last several months, I've been able to actually use all the engineering principles, the scientific principles I've learned to really understand how a small set of people, a very small set of people, control 8 billion people. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through that on this whiteboard using what I call a systems approach. I developed a course at MIT called Systems Visualization, which was taught to PhD students, undergraduates, graduate students, which was the most popular elective at MIT. And that systems visualization course used diagrams. You could do simple crayons, you could do movies, but it was really to take very complex concepts and make it accessible. Why? Because my intention in doing that is that we as a people need to get connected, need to get united to really understand these complex systems, because what you're going to learn is the few who are all over the world, they're decentralized, they're interconnected, they're multiracial, they're dispersed, but they're tightly knit and they understand these scientific principles. So what we're going to walk you through today is, first, I'm going to do a quick intro here to really teach you a little bit of system science. I encourage everyone to go to truthfreedomhealth.com, truthfreedomhealth.com, where I put together the entire program, a community, et cetera, to learn that. We'll play a video that'll explain that. But I'm going to walk you through that. Then I'm going to really map out how these small set of people control you and billions of people. And then we're going to end with talking about how we destroy them, how we overcome them to get free. And I hope you shared this video with lots and lots of people. But we're going to walk through it in a very, very deliberate way. Before I do that, what I want to also let people know is I'm probably the first system scientist, probably the first engineer, probably the first scientist and inventor who's running for president of the United States. And I decided to do that because if you look at my history, I've been a fighter on the ground since I was 14, 15 years old. I've understood how they operate, and I believe you deserve someone that's one of you, bottoms up. And when I walk you through this diagram, you're going to realize why it's important that you break free from always looking to them, why you stop being, as I call, star fuckers, thinking that you need a Kennedy or a Trump or one of them to be your leader. And this is a brainwashing that's taken place. And after I finish this diagram, hopefully it'll be clear. So before I start, let me play for you the video that our team put together for Shiva for President. Please volunteer, please donate, and become a part of our incredible campaign, which is all about you. Who would have ever thought I'd be running for President of the United States of America? I was born a low-caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. My name is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, engineer, entrepreneur, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. I grew up in the working-class neighborhoods of New Jersey, playing baseball, mowing lawns, painting houses, and coding software. My friends and neighbors are blacks, Italians, Irish, people of all races. As a 14-year-old, I wrote 50,000 lines of software code to create the world's first email system and was awarded the first U.S. copyright for email, recognizing me as its official inventor at a time when copyright was the only way to protect software inventions. I did that long before I ever came to MIT, revealing that big innovations can occur anytime, any place, by anybody. Growing up, I saw politicians dividing us by race and religion in both America and India, to have us fighting each other while they remained safe in their gated communities and in their playgrounds of Hollywood, Martha's Vineyard, and Silicon Valley. I'm a fighter. I fought racism and exposed their imperialist wars, fought for workers, and put my life on the line against global corruption. I never wanted to run for political office. All that changed when I saw working Americans as never before being duped by the establishment and the not-so-obvious establishment. Across left and right, we were being sold out and made to forget why we came to America and why America existed. Lawyers, academics, billionaires, celebrities, and politicians, elites, Clintons, Kennedys, Bidens, Obamas, Bushes, black and white have hijacked America. They printed trillions for their friends. They delivered crumbling infrastructure, corruption, and racism. They've transferred trillions to themselves, dividing black and white, fear-mongering, and fake science, lockdowns and censorship, dirty air, food, and water, pushing drugs upon us, making us sicker. We've been sold out. One set of rules for them and another for us. We deserve a warrior with a history of courage in putting everything on the line for you, who believes in you, not them, who has created a movement bottoms up for truth, freedom, health. I've exposed their lies at the right time, never waiting until it was popular. I've exposed their false gods who exist to lead you back to them. I've exposed their fake science of lockdowns and masking and provided you solutions to fight them and win and protect your immune system, saving millions. I exposed Fauci, galvanized the Fire Fauci campaign when others remained silent. When they stole our election, we sued the government and Twitter in our historic 2020 federal lawsuit, exposing in bare view the government and big tech censorship infrastructure, the unholy alliance between government and social media companies. Where was Elon and his grifters? They stood by the sidelines and did nothing. They did not use their megaphones to help us when it could have made a big difference. Now our movement grows for truth, freedom, health, independent of all of them. Every day, millions are learning the science of systems, the knowledge the elites do not want you to have, so you may learn how to think, stand up, and fight, independent of the establishment of left and right and their fake heroes. Now it's time for you to join the movement, to win back America, to win back truth, win back freedom, win back your health. That's why I'm running for President of the United States. This race is about you. This race is about truth, freedom, health versus power, profit, control. We've had enough. They think we'll fall in line and vote again for their lawyers, celebrities, billionaires, and chosen ones from above. We choose our heroes from below, from the rank and file, who do what is right at the right time, not when it's convenient and popular. They can never represent us. What America needs is a movement by the working people, for the working people, who are educated, organized, decentralized, and fight for independence from their systems of control. And that movement exists. It's ready for you. We don't need them. We need us to go bottoms up, neighbor to neighbor. My journey, your journey are all the same. It's our time. It's time we had one of us. It's time to win back truth, freedom, health. to win back America. Be part of this historic movement, all the way to our victory on November 5th, 2024. If you're an American citizen, pledge your vote now for Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, the independent candidate for U.S. President. No matter where you live, you can be a part of this. Volunteer as little as 20 minutes a day. Don't delay. This is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, and I approve this message, paid for by Dr. Shiva for President. All right, everyone, so you're going to learn a lot today, but I'm going to do it with some very simple diagrams. So first of all, I want you to understand what is a system. And you're going to understand two types of systems. One is called an intelligent system, all right? And one is called a dumb system, okay? So you're going to learn two types of systems. Let's begin with the dumb system, okay? And by the way, again, this is a very, very quick review as we discuss. This will be the fundamentals that you'll use to understand how a few control the many and how we escape that. So first of all, if we consider this box, we call it a system, all right? Every system in the universe has two things. It's got an input and it's got an output, okay? Very simple, okay? So one of the things you learn is an input could be, for example, you go and turn on a light switch. And what do you get? The output that you get is light. And all systems have three functions, and they have a function called transport, which is the transport of the movement of information, matter, and energy. They have another function called conversion, the ability to convert a particular input into an output. So, for example, you have the transport of electrons when you turn on the light switch to produce the heat and the light that you get. You have the fact that when you turn on the electricity, it's converted in the light bulb to heat. And then all of this is contained in a system, and this is called really the storage part, storage, all right? So anyway, I just taught you a pretty big course in a very short time, but the bottom line is every system has an input and output, and this is known as a dumb system. Why is it known as a dumb system? You get an input, you put in an output, right? You turn on the faucet, you get water, input, output. However, the reality is the truly interesting systems in nature are not just these dumb systems. They are what are called intelligent systems, feedback systems. And by the way, let me just put this up there. If you go to truthfreedomhealth.com, all of you can really learn this and be part of this global community. So what is a feedback system? If you notice, we have input, output, transport, conversion, storage. So a dumb system has 5 elements, okay? What you're going to learn is an intelligent system has 9 elements. And it's basically 4 additional elements to these 5 elements. So what are those 5 elements? So first of all, intelligent systems have a goal. They begin with a goal, okay? They want to achieve something. The goal could be, for example, they want, to make a lot of money, a lot of dollars, right? The goal could be to lose weight. These are different goals, the goal, et cetera, right? But intelligent systems have a goal, all right? And that's where they begin. They have a goal. And they know the goal is achieved when whatever they set, let's say they want to lose 50 pounds, they look at the output that comes out of their system, which is, in this case, the person, the human being, they achieve 50 pounds. Now, how do they do that? So this is one of the 4 elements of an intelligent system. The other element is an intelligent system will feed back the output into what's called a sensor, okay? If you're trying to lose weight, it's the weight scale, right? It's your weight scale, right? That would be the sensor. You want, let's say your goal is you want to get down 160 pounds and you're currently 180 pounds, okay? So that's what you would say your weight was. Now, what happens here is the sensor feeds back, that's what I call an intelligence system, and you look at where you want to go and where you're at, the difference, and you say, oh, I'm 20 pounds too heavy. And then you have a controller, this is called a controller, and a controller is something that has the ability to say, hey, I'm at 160. I'm sorry, I'm at 180. I want to get to 160. How do I do that? Now, the controller for a human being is your brain, okay? It's a thing that makes decisions. And these decisions decide what input to put back into the system. So this could be, the controller may decide, let's run, let's eat less, exercise, right? Get sleep. All these would be inputs. And then the output is you find out next time you weigh yourself, maybe now you're at 170 pounds. Now you say, oh, I'm 10 pounds off. Let me add something else. Let me eat a low carb diet, right? And now you finally get to, let's say, 160 pounds. So intelligent systems work like this, okay? So you have the goal, you have the control, and the sensor. But remember, I said there's 4 additional elements. One of the things an intelligent system also has to deal with is something called a disturbance, okay? Disturbances could be your friends, quote unquote friends, who may show up and they may say, hey, John, let's all go out party. Let's eat a pizza pie and just stay out all night. And if you want to achieve your goal, you have to be aware of these disturbances and you have to counteract them. Maybe you go out with them and you have the discipline to hang out and maybe have, a glass of wine. But anyway, this is the fundamentals of systems. Again, if you go to truthfreedomhealth.com, you'll learn more about this. Now, as an engineer, as a systems scientist, you learn this in engineering class. And in fact, the elites learn the science of systems in places like Harvard and Oxford and the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy and places like the Kennedy School. And they use this understanding, and I've given you a very, very quick version of it, to achieve their goals. They have specific goals. Their goals are not to lose weight, but part of it is to make money, but their goals are power, profit, and control. And what they have figured out is what are the inputs that they're going to put in to us, the world, to achieve the output. And then they monitor this and they continually, with their powers, continually make decisions to send you these inputs, okay, to achieve these specific goals. And guess what? People rising up are the disturbance. People becoming conscious are the disturbance to their goals. Okay, so if you can just sort of step back and look at this diagram, you see this is the foundations of system science. And as a person who enjoys system science and has taught it for many years, I have consolidated all of this into our movement for truth, freedom, and health, into our educational program, into our global community. Nearly about 500 million people all around the world, as you know, have seen our videos. We have hundreds of thousands of people who've gone through the program, and you too should become part of it because we're building a global movement to be the disturbance against the force of power, profit, and control. All right? Now, let's now move to using these concepts. And what I'm going to talk to you about is, as I shared, my life is really to understand, to help all of us catalyze a movement to destroy what I call the swarm. So what we're going to talk about today is my discovery. I'm going to call it the swarm. We're going to talk about the swarm. And the swarm is going to let you figure out how the few control the many. That's what we're going to talk about today. How the few control the many. We're going to use systems principles to understand this, but most importantly, we're going to learn how to destroy the swarm so we can achieve liberation in this lifetime. And you're also going to learn that there's no Messiah coming, that we have to do it here and now. And I would argue that as important as understanding Bernoulli's principles, engineering, overcoming gravity to build flying machines, understanding electricity and magnetism, mathematics and science, this understanding is even more powerful because it's about human liberation for truth, freedom, health. Something that we've been told over and over again, that's just the way the world is. You just have to accept it, Shiva. Some people are going to be subjugated. the vast majority, and others are going to always profit from them. I don't believe that. So let's begin by understanding this. So the question we want to understand to start with, let's look at, this little set of people, let's say, are a few bunch of people. And let's say this is what I call the elites. And maybe let's say there's about 10,000 of them, okay? The question is, how is it these small set of people are able to manipulate, and I'm going to use, and we know there's about 8 billion of us, 8 billion people. How is it these people are able to manipulate the 8 billion people here, okay? All these people out there, okay? All over the planet, okay? How is it that the 10,000 here on a good day, we know there's about 600 billionaires, as many of you know, during the pandemic increased their wealth by $2.3 trillion. The scumbag, as I call him, Elon Musk, that's when he made all of his wealth, during the pandemic, okay? But 600 billionaires, among this, are the ones who, among other institutions, control these 8 billion people. How do they do this? Now, if you talk to a lot of the naive people, they think, oh, it's the Rothschilds over here, right? Or it's the aliens, some people talk about, on another planet who are beaming information. And they get lost in this understanding because they don't understand it's not any one individual, it's not any one organization. It is the swarm. And you're going to understand swarm. Swarm is there's something called swarm intelligence. If you watch all those birds flying together, not any one of them is in control. They move together as a unit. They're closely knit. They're quote unquote telepathic, but they move with a singular goal. Again, the goal of the elites here, to get back, is power, profit, and control. This is the goal. So if we look at it from a control system side, this is the goal of the elites, okay? That's what they want. So how is it these people, what are they doing? What are the inputs they're sending into this system to achieve their goals? And what is the output that they seek? What is the output that they seek? How do they know their goals are being achieved? Well, they know that their goals are being achieved if the following is taking place. Okay, this is their output that they seek. The output that they seek, and I'm going to put it right here, are various things. So if you're an elite over here and you're looking at those 8 billion people, how do you know you're achieving your goal? Well, first of all, are people getting fat, meaning unhealthy? They like that, okay? They like people getting fat and unhealthy. Are people getting dumb, which means ignorant? They like that. Are people happy? Fat, dumb, and happy is what we're talking about here, which means, are they being entertained? They're not being educated, but they're being entertained. So that's some of the fundamentals. But one of the most important things they want to find out is, are people being divided? This is probably one of the most important things. Are people divided? Are they isolated and disconnected from themselves, right? They don't want people here connecting with each other, all right? But that's what they look for. They also look for, are people feeling helpless? Again, disconnected is a big thing. Helpless. Are people looking to the elites to save them? And they like that. They like when people here are looking to them, the enemy here, for their saviors. They really love that. Okay, and think about that. They're looking to the elites to save them. Very, very important. Okay, they want people to be disorganized. And they definitely want people to be helpless. So look at all these things here. They want people to be fat, dumb, and happy, which is unhealthy, ignorant, and entertained. They want people particularly to be divided, isolated, disconnected, helpless. And they want people here to look to the elites for their answers. And another way I have talking to it, they want people here to become star fuckers. Okay? Star fuckers means they want people here to pay homage to some idiot over here to help them. Okay? It's a technical term, right? But look at the output. This is what they want. I hope everyone's seeing this. Just look at this and absorb this. If the elites, they're achieving their goal, if the output coming out of these 8 billion people, let's call this the system, if this system is producing more fat, dumb, happy, divided, isolated, disconnected, helpless people, subservient to the elites, disorganized, and people being star fuckers. All right? So if you're listening to this right now, if you think booby effing Kennedy is going to help you, you're a star fucker. If you think Trump is going to help you, you're a star fucker. If you think the elites over here are going to help you, you're a star fucker. Okay? If you do not want to unite among people here and find who your own leaders are from below, then they are quite happy. They're achieving their goal, power, profit, and control. Now, how do they do this? Is it one individual that's doing this? Definitely not. What we're going to find is that it's a consortium, what I call a swarm, okay? And if I were to take this and I were to I'm going to draw sort of the swarm of people that they have here, okay? And you're going to realize it's not any one group. It's an interconnected, tightly knit group. And if you consider this their club, they're all closely interconnected. In fact, they all go to the same restaurants. They have all their kids going to the same equestrian shows. They all shop at the same place. They all go to the same parties. And guess what? You're not part of that. All right? This is what the elites are. So who are these people? All right? And what are the institutions of power that they have? Well, first of all, they have academia. Okay? They have academia here. Who is this academia? Well, this includes institutions like the president at Harvard, president of Oxford, president of Yale, and IIT in India, and so on, MIT. This is probably the top 100 university presidents. So just think about who I'm saying. These people are on boards of companies, but it's about 100 people who run the major universities in the world. Who are the other people? Well, it includes what we call NGOs, or nonprofits. These are people who run these huge nonprofit organizations like the Clinton Global Initiative. It includes WEF, World Economic Forum. It includes things like the CFR, Center for Foreign Relations. And there's many other institutions like these, but it's the CEOs of these institutions, okay? And these guys know each other. They definitely work together. In fact, again, they go to the same restaurants, they hang out at the same place, and they're probably neighbors, all right? Then the next thing you have is you have government, all right? Here, government includes US senators, for example, who all party at the same place. It includes prime ministers of countries. It includes advisors to government, okay? That's what we're talking about. Then over here, we have think tanks. These are intellectual think tanks. So they include, for example, the Belfer School at Harvard, okay? They include the Stanford Internet Observatory, which is the one with Belfer that they created the censorship infrastructure. This includes, CIA, right? Intelligence organizations. And again, all these people, as I'm drawing here, know each other. They're interconnected. They're a swarm, okay? They're not disconnected people. They're tightly knit. They're not divided like these people over here. They're not disconnected. They're highly interconnected. So the CEOs, of the NGOs, the senators, the prime ministers, the advisors, they all work together. They know the heads of the universities, and they're friends with all the think tanks. All right? Who else is there? So these people are focused on power, sustaining power. But then you also have a whole nother people. You have another set of people who are the CEOs of, let's say, the global 2,000 companies globally. And this could be companies like Target, right? Companies like Exxon, companies like, what is it? Anheuser-Busch, right? Who has a Bud Light. And it could be other big organizations like big pharma companies, like Pfizer, big agriculture companies, like who? Like Syngenta, okay? We'll come back to these guys, and so on. It also includes, what we want to think about is big investment companies, Well, this is where you'd put JP Morgan. You'd put Deutsche Bank here. You'd put Epstein down here, okay? He was involved in all this, all right? And then over here, you also have the Fed, right? The central banks. And again, all these people are interconnected. They're not disconnected, tightly connected. The leaders of all these things, all these people party together. And this is something important to understand. When I say party together, I mean literally they party together, guys, okay? They're absolute close-knit friends. And in fact, the CEO of a Global 2000 company will easily move to one of the investment companies down here. If you look at Target, or you look at these big companies like Anheuser-Busch and Exxon, you'll find that at one point they were in one of these investment companies, and these investment companies sit on the board of these companies, and they shuffle back and forth, okay? Now, what these people also have, so this is all about making money, right? These people are about making the dollar. These people are all about power. This is profit. And then fundamentally, you have control. So you have Hollywood over here. This includes celebrities, right? You have their agents, Hollywood agents, like Ari Emanuel, as I've talked about, who's a guy who controls most of Hollywood. He controls, all the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the MMA, etc. You also have another set of people, the media companies. This includes Disney. This includes Viacom. This includes now Facebook. This includes now Twitter, YouTube. These are large media companies. Google, you can put in there also, okay? And combined with this, now we have another group, okay? We have what I call these social media influencers, okay? This is like Joe Rogan, okay? These are people like, these characters who have come in, but they do not exist without support from these guys. If you notice, overnight, a bunch of social media influencers have come out of nowhere, right? And you also have, what am I missing here? Let me just get one section here. So we not only have those people, but we also have, forgetting, the news stations, okay? With these big news stations, CNN, Fox, oh, by the way, the social media influencers now are Tucker Carlson. Okay? And these people are created by these people. So when you look at this, the academics, the NGOs, the government, the think tanks, the investment companies, the Fed, the big pharma, the CEOs, the Hollywood celebrities, media, social media influencers, and the news companies, and you can even take the top 10 of each one of these, they all know each other, everyone. They're not friends. They know each other. And in order to manipulate these people, what they have to do is they have to send these people, they have their front men. They need front men to manipulate these people with policies. Because what comes out are policies. What comes out are, these are the inputs they put into the system, propaganda. They feed these people also false heroes. Okay? They feed these people purposely, people who they tell them are going to save them, like the Elon Musks, right? Or Trump or the Kennedys, okay? And the other thing we'll come back to is they always try to normalize dysfunction. Now, who are the people part of the swarm that does that? Well, they have a very another nice set of people are also connected to the swarm. They have the obvious establishment. Obvious establishment, as I like to call it, okay? And these people are like the Clintons, right? Or the McConnells. Or the Obamas. Or the Bushes. Or the Queen of England. These people are what I call the obvious establishment. So typically people say, oh yeah, those guys are part of the establishment. But one of the things we teach at Truth Freedom Health is that the most insidious people, and this is why I've been so explosively exposing these people, are what I call the not so obvious establishment. Not so obvious establishment. These are the people that are created to make sure that the 8 billion people look to the elites to save them. These are the people like Trump. He's got a golden toilet. Mar-a-Lago, Kennedy's, completely bogus family. And if you look at this booby fucking Kennedy, he literally steals my material. A few days ago, I talked about endocrine disruptors. He goes on Jordan Peterson, says it. One day he says he's for, everything. We're in Ukraine for all the right reasons. Then he says, oh, well, Biden is there for a different reason. He speaks from both sides of the mouth. And that's what the NSOEs do. You can look at historically people like Gandhi, okay? Or people like MLK. These people all came and were endorsed by the swarm. These people do not exist. They live in Malibu. They live at the places of the elites. So let me look at this again. You have the obvious establishment and the not so obvious. And these people are the ones that are used to send the inputs of this controller. So in system science, these are the controllers. These are the people controlling the inputs that go in. And remember, their goal is to make sure people are in the state of division, disconnection, and helplessness, particularly. And they're observing all this. They have their sensors. And one of the features that they notice is that as long as people are in dysfunction and diseased, mentally, physically, emotionally, they're happy. Well, what are those diseases these days? Okay. What do we see today? We see obesity. We see endocrine disruption in people. We see men with low testosterone now, okay? And people questioning their sexuality, okay? Endocrine disruptors, okay? We also see people with cancer, right? Heart disease, so on, and just death. As I shared a few days ago, we are literally seeing, if I were to draw a curve, while the rest of the world's population's life expectancy is going down, the United States is going this way, and this is from 1980 to like 2020 now. They like this. This is life expectancy. In fact, when they see dysfunction, you know what they do? They put another input in, which is normalize the dysfunction. What do I mean by this? Well, if you think about the academia, the NGOs, the government, all of these people, for the last 50 years, an example of policies that they promoted is, okay, eat sugars and high fructose food. Well, over here, people have been literally getting fat. It's led to obesity. Or they've been putting in foods that are affecting people's gut microbiome. Okay, this is what I call from policy to biology. People are getting obese. And this obesity, what is this doing? Or any of these dysfunctions? First of all, it's giving people more power. It's giving these people right here more profit. Let's just put here profit. And it's giving people here control. Because the celebrities, the media, the NSOEs who are doing this, and people are getting worse and worse, they're actually making more money because the obesity now creates obesity drugs. Okay? The endocrine disruptors, let's talk about this. One of the reasons I want to talk about this is think about what's happening over here. And we want to go to this to really understand it. And this will really explain what's going on with Bud Light. Okay? Several years ago, about 20 years ago, there was research done. at the universities that clearly showed that the use of restricted use pesticides like atrazine and other chemicals in the atmosphere are actually cause endocrine disruption, which could reduce male testosterone, which could also affect people, mammals, where the sex organs can change. And this was done by the work of Tyrone Hayes. So if you're over here at a university and you find out one of your researchers discovered that, and you are playing golf with people over here at Syngenta is the one who produced atrazine, they're going to say, hey, man, we don't want this research coming out, because you have to understand something. The investment community here is investing in all of these companies. So if you're an investment, one of these large investment companies, you're moving trillions of dollars. $600 trillion, by the way, move through the economy every day. So you, as one of the elites managers of money, you're moving all this money. And by the way, you know all of these people. You know the CEO of Target, you know the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, you know the CEO of Pfizer and Syngenta. And imagine that you see that, wow, you know, the stuff that we've been creating over here is causing sexual disruption changes. Men's testosterone levels are dropping, and maybe there is some distribution of sexuality in the norm, you know, of various types of sexualities, but you're seeing a phenomenon where more and more people are questioning their sexuality. In fact, the statistics are 39% of trans, there's 39% of the men are, 39% are of the trans culture, 39% are trans women, and 36% are trans men, right? So you're seeing this growth of some disruption. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the general public doesn't understand this, because if they did, they would awaken to something that's going on from the decisions you made. So you call up your friend, the investment calls up his friend at Bud Light. He goes, hey, look, let's run a campaign. Let's normalize trans. Let's exploit someone like even a willing person to be exploited, like this Dylan Mulvaney. Let's put them on as a poster boy for Bud Light, all right? And let's push them out there, because we want the attention to normalize a dysfunction. So they normalize this dysfunction because the goal is to make sure they don't lose their trillions over in Syngenta. They're willing to take $1 billion hit over here, but they want to save their trillions in big pharma and big ag. You follow? Because they're all part of the same family. They all do favors for each other. And this is why it makes sense. Why would you do it Bud Light? And then again, then you would go do it at Target. You try to normalize it, because you don't want people over here to understand the bigger picture, okay? But you are interconnected. You could strike deals left and right. Let's do a marketing campaign in here. Let's normalize. Same thing if you can look at what's going on in obesity. All these pharma companies are making big money from obesity drugs, but there's movies on Netflix and Amazon promoting fat people as a norm. Now, what happens over here? What's happening over here is that you have people who are pro-fat, you know, and people who are anti-fat people. You have people who are pro-woke and anti-woke, and they don't care. So you have a bunch of these idiots writing books against woke companies and anti-woke companies. You have people creating apps. Okay, only shop at anti-woke companies. Don't go to woke companies. But you guys understand that these guys don't give a damn? They're making money anyway. The investment bankers are going to make money from woke companies and anti-woke companies. But what's occurring here is people are being divided. People are being divided. These guys are happy because they're inputting policies and propaganda. People here are being divided, and that is the goal, to achieve power, profit, control, right? So as long as these people work together as a swarm to control the policies and the propaganda, and they provide false heroes, and they're using the Trumps, the Kennedys, and Gandhis, all of them who talk a big game, their goal is to make sure that you never understand this, that you keep thinking, oh, Kennedy's going to solve the problem, Trump is going to solve the problem, or some other bullshitter. And they want to make sure that you never, you know, get a Malcolm X on your side. One of you never, follow a Dr. Shiva, okay? And they surely don't want you to follow you. They don't want you to be leaders in your own communities. They want you to outsource your future to people like Trump or Kennedy, because they're part of the swarm. Does that make sense? Is everyone understanding that? John, you think people are getting it? So the key thing to understand is this swarm is same set of people. And the not so obvious establishment is the one that delivers you false heroes. So just step back and let's look at this. Let's step back and look at this. You have the elites, about 10,000 people. And by the way, as I said, 600 billionaires made $2.3 trillion during the pandemic. Let's not forget that. So these people, the 600 billionaires, had this huge network of academia. John, you can go in here. Academia, NGOs, government, prime ministers, senators, advisors, think tanks. Then they have CEOs of Global 2000 companies, big pharma CEOs, big ag, investment company CEOs like JP Morgan, the Fed, central banks, the news organizations, CNN, Fox, social media influencers, Rogan, Tucker Carlson, go down the list. Media companies, Disney, Viacom, Facebook, Twitter, Hollywood, celebrities and agents. And the obvious establishment is who you see. So you have some people being pro-obvious and other people saying, oh, Kennedy is going to help me or Trump is going to help me. They create division here through policies, propaganda, and false heroes. False heroes are one of the powerful things they do. And you keep getting more unhealthy, more ignorant, more entertained. But most importantly, you are divided. People here don't organize themselves to smash these people up. And this is the history of human oppression. They have it down to a system, a goal, they have a controller, they have specific inputs, and they manipulate billions of people to achieve this state. They produce dysfunction, and basically, they don't give a damn if you die. And people are actually, right now in the United States, the life expectancy in the United States is less than it was. Your children, basically in the United States, per this graph, are going to die sooner than you. And they've achieved their goal. They don't give a damn. Do you understand? These people are eating organic foods. They get the best restaurants. They get the best insurance. They get the best health care. And this is what they want to achieve. And that's how they're controlling people. The other way they're controlling you is they want you to keep looking to the elites, like these idiots like Trump and Kennedy and all these people, to save you. They want you to look to the swarm. They do not want you to ever support a Malcolm X or a Dr.SHIVA, me, or you. They don't want you to become leaders, okay? And this is a goal. As long as you're divided, as long as you're looking over here, you're going to achieve their goal of power, profit, and control. So what's the way out? How do we win? How do we win? Well, the first way we win is, as I mentioned here, everyone's got to be aware of the science of systems. Without this understanding, without these foundational understanding of that, there are goals, there are controllers, there are systems, there are intelligence, and there are dumb systems. You are never going to break out of this because you will think everything is, oh my God, we got to talk about aliens and UFOs and flat earth or this. All those may be interesting topics, but they don't come down to the fundamentals of understanding this. And the only way out of this is people here have got to understand the principles of system science. And the good news is you can learn this at Truth Freedom Health. So first of all, learn these principles at Truth Freedom Health. That's the only place. I'm not here trying to sell you anything. This is my gift to people. And if you can't be part of this and you don't want to be part of it, we've made it accessible to all your children. Any person who goes through the course, you can give it to your children, 13 to 18. Anyone can learn this. But the goal is go to Truth Freedom Health and you will understand the science of systems. So we've created that weapon. And with this weapon, now we have a way to smash, this is a hammer here, right? We have a way to smash this swarm. But without the understanding of this, without you understanding this system science, without you understanding the knowledge of systems, you will never break out of this. And that is what I wanted to share with you today. And before I close today, we're going to come back shortly, but I want to let you know that this entire knowledge of system science is foundational to our achieving Truth, Freedom, Health, which is a very different goal than power, profit, and control. And this is how we break from a small set of people, controlling the many. So let's just play this video so you understand how you can be part of Truth, Freedom, and Health and why this is important. We have allowed our country to be taken over from within, and the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves.
because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution. And that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people. First, with understanding what a system is, the dynamics of all systems that affect nature. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Truth, freedom, health. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up. Working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is the not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is the not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. We're building a bottoms-up movement, and that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done, and it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. You know, Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote-unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these four concepts I've built into a curriculum where people can go to truthfreedomhealth.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. Now, the Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on truthfreedomhealth.com, so people can sign in, they can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there, but we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to truthfreedomhealth.com.
All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. So that video will really give you an understanding of what Truth Freedom Health is. Go to Truth Freedom Health and become a warrior scholar. Because again, in summary, by the way, before I wrap up, please volunteer. Go to shivaforpresident.com, volunteer. You can donate. And by the way, when you donate, you can look up on the site. I don't like to take people's money for nothing. I give you books and courses and access to the entire community at truthfreedomhealth.com. So please take advantage of that if you want to donate. But if you don't want to donate, volunteer. We're going to be getting on the ballot in all the states. So we need people on the ground. So go to Shiva for President, numeral4president.com, and volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Our campaign is about mobilizing you. Our campaign is really about you. This is not, it's about you starting to respect leaders like myself and others who have existed in history, and yourself. We have a whole program that we want to train you to be a leader, so we get connected. We're no longer helpless. We're no longer looking. We stop being star fuckers. We stop looking to these fools like Kennedy and Trump and all these other people, because where have they gotten us? Where have they really gotten us? Because they are part of the system to increase power, profit, and control. This is why a small set of people, the elites, right? 600 billionaires make $2.3 trillion. They keep getting richer and richer off the backs of people. This is why these people are able to control you, because they make you disconnected and divided in a very, very systems way. This is the science of systems that they're using. By the way, there's about 10,000 people on advisors that learn the science. This is not accidental, everyone. This is not like, the problem is, when people saw birds flying, oh, wow, we can never fly. We can't do that, right? What I'm here to tell you is once you understand the engineering physics here, we can smash these people. We can end the reign and make a society where people are decentralized but connected. We're no longer divided, but we're united with the interests that we have to face their propaganda and destroy them, and to no longer follow false heroes. And that's what this is about. Because the way we're going now, as I've talked about, those in power want to kill you. This is not being in any way hyperbolic. It's not a hyperbole. They want to kill you. The movement for Truth, Freedom, Health and our campaign for Shiva for President is about making sure you live long and prosper. And the only way to do it is you have to become aware of this, and you have to become recognizing that there's a systems process. Fortunately, truthfreedomhealth.com exists. I wish I didn't have to go do this. In fact, our parents should have done this for us. But anyway, better late than never. Truth Freedom Health exists. Our campaign exists. So go to shivaforpresident.com, become a volunteer, become a warrior scholar, truthfreedomhealth.com. And tomorrow, is it tomorrow, John? Thursdays.
Thursdays.
Every Thursdays at 11 a.m. and at 8 p.m. I do a open house, and we have our 8 p.m. town halls for our campaign. Please join them. John's putting it up. You can RSVP at vashiva.com/orientation. The other important you can do, where we start taking control of our lives, that you start supporting one of us. I'm one of you, leaders, bottoms up. I didn't grow up with, in a Kennedy compound, right? I didn't grow up with golden plated toilet seats. I grew up like you guys. And as a part of that, make sure that you share this video. Hit the share button. Make sure you retweet it. Make sure you click the notify. Make sure you put comments on, because you know that I've been exposing their false heroes, Elon Musk and the Kennedys and all their not so obvious establishment people. So their retribution is to shadow ban me. My tweets used to get, 500,000 views per day. Today, I'm lucky if I get 5,000 views per day. And then they put keywords if something starts going viral to stop that. So the way you can help is, A, sign up as a volunteer so we get on the ground. The future is offline. B, I need you to go share these videos, get it out there, and become a Truth, Freedom, Health warrior. That's the ways you guys can help, contribute. Anyway, there you go. So anyway, I hope this is valuable. Be the light, shivaforpresident.com, truthfreedomhealth.com. Thank you, everyone. Be well, be the light. Have a good night, have a good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.